Most people think betrayal happens in a single moment. A message that shouldn't have been sent, a conversation that went too far, a line that got crossed. But in reality, betrayal rarely starts there. It starts long before that. The moment a couple quietly stops protecting the inner circle of their relationship. The moment outside voices, outside stress, and outside distractions start mattering more than the two people inside the marriage. Today, we're showing you how to build a shield around your relationship, one that outside interference can't quietly slip through. By the end of this video, you'll have 3 practical strategies to protect your bond and keep your spouse at the center of your focus, not the edge of it. Think of your marriage as its own private world, one with its own rules, its own language, and its own secrets that belong only to the two of you. That world needs boundaries. And most couples don't lose that world all at once. They lose it slowly, through what we'll call porous boundaries. Small leaks where things that should stay inside the relationship start spilling outward instead. This looks like venting to a friend about your spouse before you've even talked to your spouse. It looks like carrying home stress from work and letting it set the mood of your entire household. It looks like letting outside opinions weigh in on decisions that were never anyone else's to make. Here's your first actionable step. Define your sacred topics. These are the handful of things, your finances, your intimacy, your private disagreements, your future plans, that get discussed inside your relationship first, and only shared outside it with your spouse's knowledge and consent. This single boundary alone does more to protect a marriage than almost anything else, because it keeps your relationship the primary source of truth about your own life, instead of everyone else's opinions filling that space first. Interference doesn't always come from other people. Sometimes it comes from a screen, late-night scrolling, notifications during dinner, replying to work emails during the only hour you have together. None of these feel like betrayal in the moment, but they train your attention to live somewhere other than with the person across from you. And attention, over time, is what intimacy is actually made of. Here's the fix. Create a phone-free first hour and a phone-free last hour of your day. The first hour sets the tone before the world gets a say in your mood. The last hour protects the one part of the day designed for connection, not consumption. In that window, the only voice either of you is listening to is each other's. This isn't about distrust of technology. It's about making sure your spouse never has to compete with a screen for your attention. If you're finding this helpful, take a second and subscribe to the channel. We break down real strategies for building stronger relationships every week, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's talk about the check-in that changes everything. Betrayal rarely grows from nowhere. Much more often, it grows quietly in the soil of unmet needs, needs that were never spoken out loud until it was too late. This is why the third strategy matters so much. A 15-minute weekly check-in with your spouse. No distractions, no multitasking, just the two of you sitting down on purpose. Ask 2 questions. First, what's one thing I did this week that made you feel loved? This keeps both of you paying attention to what's actually working, instead of only noticing what's going wrong. Second, is there anything lately that's made you feel outside our circle? This gives your spouse permission to name a disconnection before it turns into resentment, and before resentment turns into something worse. 15 minutes a week is a small investment. But it's often the difference between a couple who drifts apart without noticing and a couple who catches the drift early enough to correct it. The final piece is how you show up to the outside world as a couple. especially when family, friends, or outside opinions try to overstep. This is where language matters more than people realize. Instead of, "I don't think I can," or "Let me ask my spouse," start using "we" language. "We aren't available for that. We've decided as a couple." This isn't about losing your individuality. It's about signaling to your spouse and to everyone around you that your marriage operates as a unified front, not two individuals who can be pulled in separate directions by outside pressure. When people sense that a couple presents a united decision, they stop testing the boundary. But when they sense daylight between two partners, that gap becomes an invitation, sometimes for interference, and sometimes for something far more damaging. Bulletproofing your marriage was never about a lack of trust. It's about an abundance of care. It's choosing on purpose to protect your us above everything competing for your attention. Outside opinions, digital noise, unspoken needs, and the small leaks that quietly drain a relationship over time. None of these strategies require grand gestures. Protected topics, a phone-free hour, 15 minutes a week, 2 words, "we" instead of "I." Small, consistent choices that tell your spouse again and again that they are still the center of your world. Which of these boundaries do you think is hardest to maintain? Let us know in the comments, and let's help each other build stronger marriages. If this video brought you value, subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep making content like this, and you won't miss the next one. Timeless wisdom for life, love, and growth.